Good afternoon, everyone. 44,000-year-old cave art found in Indonesia, nearly doubling what was thought was the oldest cave art on our planet. Following the nor'easter up through the northeast U.S. and Maritimes of Canada, 20 to 30 inches of snow, and now in New Jersey, black ice. Be careful if you're out there. This storm is going to continue over the next couple of days. Speaking of storm clouds, economic declines, IMF saying, ooh, we're going down. India, industrial production down. Japan down. Australia down. And look how much money's been pushed into the market to keep it propped up artificially from collapsing. And now the Fed needs to put another $500 billion in it. What happened to all those trillions from the 2009 era that were supposed to fix the economy? We're back into putting trillions in again so it doesn't collapse. This does not portend well for your food prices and your families as we move forward. What are the scariest things that you think about that could devastate your retirement savings today? The Chinese trade war, stock market crash, the Fed losing control of the overnight repo market, a clear sign that there's trouble ahead, gold sitting at 6-year highs. And isn't it time to think about gold and silver as a hedge against a full-blown market crash? Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer, where you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. The link's in the description box below. PatriotGoldGroup.com. History always is rewritten, and here we are, another instance of this. The most famous Lascaux in France with the cave art there, circa 23,000 years ago, was supposed to be the oldest on the planet. I know there was some Denisovan art that was found, but it was handprints on a wall. But here we go. Indonesia, 44,000-year-old drawings is now the oldest on our planet. So where's the extra 20,000 years that's missing between this 44,000 and the Lascaux, France, 24,000? So they're showing a dwarf buffalo species here with inhabitants in the forest on the left there above the head. You can see humans and different other types of animals. And there's also representations of star constellations and different star field views in there. Just makes you question what the experts keep telling us that is the oldest. What's hidden from us in the Smithsonian, the Vatican Library, and other places on our planet that have all these private collections? How much of our history are we really missing? With all the resets of the calendars, the timelines, and how old is our human species in itself? Now, I've been following this bomb cyclone since 14th of December, and it rolls in through today as well, northeast U.S. and the Maritimes of Canada. It's kind of stuck at the moment, but it's forecast to be moving through the 18th, 19th, and 20th, finally offshore. But where it's stuck, it's dropping an enormous amount of snow. And for those of you in the northeast, this is still a weather bulletin for you. This continued low is going to drop in pressure even more before it shifts offshore. And these are the snow totals that they're looking for up here. 40, 42 inches in the green, just a couple feet in the reds. Now that's where the snow is, but if you come a little bit further south into New Jersey, what they're experiencing right now is just freezing black rain ice. Super dangerous stuff. You don't even know the roads are icy. I've had to drive on this before. Very dangerous. Be careful out there. But over in Austria, look at the sunset. And the temperatures still remain above freezing even in the nighttime lows. Unusual weather anomalies. UK is freezing, but over in Austria, it's warm. Our atmosphere is definitely shifting at the moment. Now, with all the storm clouds on the horizon, literally in our weather systems, we also have economic storm clouds gathering all around. And the way these two intersect in the Grand Solar Minimum, as I've said from the beginning of the channel, is about a year before the actual food shortages on the planet start, where it's going to cause civil unrest, no doubt. That there's going to be a purposeful financial collapse to lock everybody in place, because at that point, once everybody starts to understand this Grand Solar Minimum and how it's going to affect our food production or lack thereof, and property values and electrical grids and a lot of other things, people are going to start to move if they can. Well, the way the world's structured right now, you can't have 8 billion people moving to different locations without severe disruptions in everything before the actual disruptions occur. So as myself and many others I've talked to are pegging this event at 2021 after the elections here. So I'm really starting to dig into financial information now, especially the correlations from 2008 and 9 with run-ups in prices, then also crashes, the liquidity crisis, the credit lockup, and now here we are again, International Monetary Fund showing us that forecast coming into 2020, contraction United States, contraction China, contraction Eurozone, contraction Japan. And I said, well, if it is, then we should see some downward momentum at the moment because we're getting toward 2020, are we not? If you've heard about the repo market crisis in the US, this is how much money they're injecting every night on the overnight lending, different hedge funds, bond traders, bank to bank. There's a serious crisis in the institutional lending arena right now where banks don't even trust other banks or exchanges that they're going to bring the money back in when they're supposed to. So the Federal Reserve's injecting, $350 billion to keep this market afloat. It's fictitious and it should have crashed. It started back in mid-September. And you got to ask yourself, how long is it going to continue? How much more money can they put into it? And then, well, here's part of the answer. By the end of the year, they have to inject another $500 billion or else the market's going to collapse. Another $500 billion to keep the fictitiousness afloat. Now, my question was, all right, with 2009 and 10 and all those trillions and tens of trillions of dollars injected into the markets, which split the wealth gap even further, how is this market not repaired with all that money put in over the last 10 years? And now they're asking for trillions more to keep it up and afloat. See, this is the thing that should make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, because if we're this precariously close to a market collapse on a global level, not seen since the Roman era, going back 2,000 years. This is the type of collapse it's going to be. Everything is going to reset. So how prepared are you with your families for this type of event here? So just look out. IMF's calling for contraction across the globe next year. And here we are, India, great slowdown. They're already back at 2009 levels. Give it a few more months and that should drop below the 2009 low point in India. There's extreme political unrest there going on at the moment, along with food riots from onions, tomatoes, etc. And another thing that pegs between India and China here is the use of electricity to indicate a slowdown. So on the far right of the chart, you're going to see that giant upside down U there. That was the spike in electrical demand, followed by the reduction in orders and usage of electricity. So factory demand down, you can see the demand for electricity down. And this is an indicator of economy in India going down even further because you can see it's the largest contraction in use of electricity. And you could follow the same thing over in China. Just there's a lot of information out there about electrical demand and usage in China for factory orders. And when it decreases, it means the factories aren't running as much to capacity as they were before, so they don't need as much electric. And then they can forecast that there's a contraction coming because people aren't ordering. And then we see right here, Asia-Pacific manufacturing PMI slumping. And the bars that you're looking at are defaults from China in the bond market. And get this, these are state-owned enterprises. So this is the government-owned companies, steel mills, this type of thing. And they're letting them default right now. It's never been done before because they had the perception the stability of China is so rock solid. China's growing. China's going to pull the rest of the world up. It's really interesting now how the government's allowing these SOEs to fail, all at the time of everything else is contracting. And you look across China, it's just contraction, contraction, and contraction. People aren't ordering from abroad. So if people aren't ordering from abroad, what are they doing with their money? Because currently there's a lot of money around the planet. So if they're not buying stuff, what are they using their money for? Where's all the money disappearing to? And then we take a look at Japan as well. Contraction. And again, this is in manufacturing, which shows a slowdown in orders, so somebody on the other end's not buying. And in Australia as well, see, it does seem to be all over the place at the moment. And now we have Brexit that just happened. So it'd be a perfect excuse for the EU to pull the plug and then blame Brexit on the contraction. Convenient scapegoat. You bad people want your independence. We're going to teach you a lesson economically. So how prepared are you for these emergencies? I wish you the best of luck in your preparation. We are getting so close. So just keep your eyes on these kind of indicators because your food prices are going to generally follow what's happening here. The lower that goes, the higher your food price is going to go. And instead of giving money to the United Nations in a global carbon tax, I invite you to check out the Adapt 2030 December merch. It's not CO2, it's not you, it's the sun. Men and women's short and long sleeve tees and hoodies. Warning, this design may trigger Al Gore. The link's in the description box below, and it's another way to help support the Adapt 2030 channel.